And we are live. Do you want to take it away, Lauren, while I hop in the background and test it to see if it's going out? If it's really going out?
What is up, everybody? Good evening, and thank you for joining us for episode number 10 of the Tattoo Weekly on Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Network. So Jake, Meeks, Gabe Ripley, and I are with you tonight, beaming out from several states across the U.S. We're happy to be beaming out from Reinventing Community as well, which offers a new medium for connecting with other artists, apprentices, and collectors. If you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, or the Reinventing mobile app, let us know that all of our streams are working in the chat, or tag a friend who loves tattoos just as much as you and would like to join us. So our Reinventing community has evolved over the last year into a quality network of live and on-demand art shows and classes. Some of them happen every single day. Join Jason Leeser on Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern for his Reinventing drawing group, and drawing groups happening Mondays at 9 a.m. as well. We're live on Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. with Ricardo Sturdivant and stream the TattooNow show with Gabe Ripley every Wednesday at noon. You can join Kier for fundamentals class that is geared towards apprentices at 10 a.m. on Thursday mornings, and the tattoo collecting podcast at noon. You should stay up to date with all of our live events, and you can do so by checking out our schedule at community.reinventingthetattoo.com or in the events tab in our free mobile app. There you'll see the various drawing groups, interviews, and panels happening nearly every day. Also, while we're on the topic, let's check out reinventing247.com for 5 channels that are beaming out all the time. They're perfect for your studio or to entertain tattoo clients. While you're there, you can register for a goodie bag with samples from Giant Cartridges, Raw Pigments, and D-Lies Pro. Actually, since we're all live right now and all of you watching, we're going to give away a free sample pack to a professional tattooer who can best answer why they're watching tonight, and we'll announce the winner later in the show. So let us know in the comments what you're excited about watching for tonight. Aside from some of our live events, we want to note the Reinventing the Tattoo canon has expanded with new chapters and online content. You can join subscribers who are actively working to better their skill set on Monday evening class led by Guy Aitchison every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Other Reinventing educational content, courses, and webinars are available to you whether you're in lockdown or pursuing professional development. Also, to get a firsthand look at what the Monday classes are all about, go to courses.reinventing, or to watch a free webinar and a public Monday night exercise with Jesse Smith. Before we get started with the weekly, I'd like to shout out some of our sponsors for making this a pre-community just for you. We have World Tattoo Events, the largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events in the world. Lots of stuff is changing, like COVID crazy, so make sure you go to their website to see what's happening. Also, thank you to Donna at Inkjet Stencils. Print stencils directly from your mobile or computer. Save your time, your apprentice's hands, your own hands. Webinars and free samples at inkjetstencils.com. Thank you to Raw Pigments, an ink company that's tapping into the source with acrylic-free pigments that have been impressing artists across the globe. Find their newly updated website at rawpigments.co. Thank you to D-Lies Pro, known internationally as Dermalize Pro. Protect your art. If you're using saran wrap, watch some videos of tattooers to see what it's all about, dermalizepro.com. Also, of course, Gabe's TattooNow, technology for tattooers for more than 25 years. There you'll see a lot of different stuff, awesome tattoos, always fresh content. And of course, thank you, Guy Aitchison, the founder and inspiration behind Reinventing the Tattoo. You can find his biomech encyclopedias, DVDs, machines, paintings, and more at guyaitchison.com. And of course, our affiliates, thank you, Jake at the Fireside Tattoo Network, the Apprenticeship Diaries, and eco-friendly tattoo-supplies.com. So we hope you'll hang on around after the Tattoo Weekly tonight for the 3rd night of the South Pacific Lockdown Escape, led by Guy Aitchison, the Inglorious Hoko, and Adrian Dominic. We'll be doing live figure drawing for probably I would say 3 hours tonight. So it'd be awesome to see you guys there. And I'm going to let Jake in now. Awesome. Gabe, are you still there?
I am. That was great. Thank you very much. I was in the background. Looks like Facebook isn't being very happy with the streaming. So I copied the YouTube link around, but that might let everybody know if you can shoot make a story or if you can share it around, because we'd love to get as many people watching, because we've got Guy Aitchison coming on, the Inglorious Hoko later. And then, so they'll be joining us in about 15 or about 25 minutes.
Cool.
So yeah.
Let's roll the clip. What did you say before we
the intro.
Jake? Yeah. There we go.
Oh wait, let's I'm gonna
Awesome.
Okay.
It just gets better every time I see it.
What's up, Jake?
What's up? How are you guys?
Doing pretty good tonight.
Good.
Fantastic.
Good.
How are you?
Great. Just scrambling. I got off a plane, ran straight to dinner for my father-in-law's birthday, and then got here to set up and realized that all my podcast gear is still in my bags from the plane because I went out of town to podcast. So I had to, in 30 seconds or less, hook everything up as fast as I could to get back on camera. So luckily I've got that down.
If you could put yourself into focus.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Perfect.
Let's see. Me.
You got it. Maybe you just had to do that thing.
Yeah, I've got this camera set up on where you can touch focus. If you want to focus on a certain thing and you're behind the camera, you just touch that spot and it'll zoom in on it. The problem is if you're not looking at the screen, you can accidentally touch a spot that's not your face, and then you're focusing on some background thing.
Jake, do you want to check in the background to see if we're streaming out on the Fireside network while Lauren and I introduce ourselves?
Yeah, sure will. Go for it.
All right.
I'm Gabe Ripley from TattooNow. I'm a computer geek, and I am kind of the CTO of Reinventing, but definitely excited to always catch up with TattooNow show interviews, as well as talk about upcoming events. The clips that I cut out for the show for tonight's show include Thea Duskin, who I just interviewed last week, as well as a back piece from Dana Helmuth that was recorded way back in the day. Yeah.
Awesome. Always good to hear from you, Gabe. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for watching. I'm Lauren. I work with Reinventing the Tattoo and Raw Pigments. I'm a traveler at heart, so I'm excited to be on the road, although, of course, cautious. I've enjoyed working in our Reinventing virtual offices, where I've been becoming more and more savvy on how to connect, I guess, through the internet, which had pros and cons. We love the real world events. But yeah, you can find me pretty much all the time in the Reinventing app or at Lauren Worldwide on Instagram. And yeah, my interests for tonight are going to kind of highlight some stuff that was happening, a quick highlight from Jason at the Philadelphia Tattoo Convention, as well as bringing up the call for evidence, I guess, report that's happening in the United Kingdom, in the UK. So we'll talk about that a little further.
I'm excited to hear about that. Okay, I think our live stream should be rolling. I had it on private. It's not private now, though. So we should be good on Fireside. Yep.
Looks like perfect. Awesome. Yeah. So we have 20 minutes before we bring Guy on, so we could actually get it tight. Woo.
All right.
Your introduction.
My introduction. I'm Jake Meeks from the Fireside Tattoo Network. I'm really fast at putting my gear together and getting in front of the camera. I'm really bad at live streaming. Nice to meet you guys. Now, the Fireside Tattoo Network has been doing regular tattoo education content for about 8.5, 9 years now. We do a weekly podcast and technique series. We have several courses to help tattooers draw better pictures, mainly. And just love, meeting new tattooers and talking to tattooers we've known a long time and picking their brains and stealing their tricks. and all that kind of stuff. I actually spent this last weekend, 2 days in a row getting tattooed by one of my favorite tattooers, Andy Chambers, and I got the podcast with him yesterday, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as the show goes on.
Awesome.
I'm out of focus again, aren't I?
Just like
Maybe.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's coming in and out, but
All right, I'm going to let you guys take it for a second. I'm going to figure out what's up with this camera.
sure.
Lauren, take it away, Lauren.
That's what's up. Okay, here we go. So you guys, I want to kind of briefly touch on this because it's kind of a lot to take in. So 1 second. In the United Kingdom, they have HSE has released what they call a call for evidence. It's basically urging manufacturers or professional working tattooers to provide references and reliable data. And so what they're going to be doing is publishing a report in April of 2022. And so what the report is going to do is prepare the dossier for substances to like look for what's in tattoo inks and PMU, and will largely affect the pigments that will be permitted for use in the UK now.
And a PMU is permanent makeup, correct?
Yeah,
Okay,
permanent. They're giving artists and manufacturers, importers, distributors, and retailers to respond 8 weeks from now. And that number is kind of dwindling. I think it's more like 7 weeks to respond to this document, which I'll kind of show you some of the stuff that they're looking for. The type of information they're looking for is what is in pigments, what dilutants or solvents are being used, the quantities, cost, availability of alternatives, hazard and risk profiles. They're looking for all this stuff. So, and I would assume in my imagination, the FDA is going to take this into consideration because there really isn't thorough reporting like this happening with consumers. So I guess this would impact the rest of the world if you think, because we're the major distributors of the world, producing 90% of the tattoo pigments. So again, this report is being made to decide if it's necessary to introduce new measures. So the call for evidence closes on November 2nd. And that's open up to the entire world. We've done our part. Like I said, that type of reporting is going to be used hopefully in the favor of tattooers, but any little changes could affect your entire palette. So
I missed the very first part of that, but I heard you say something about part of what they are looking for is if there are alternatives to products that we're already using, or more affordable alternatives. Is that what you said?
Availability of alternatives.
Availability of alternatives. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's odd to me. It seems to me that, you know, if I'm in the business of manufacturing pigment and making tattoo ink, and that's my job, I'm probably, as an entrepreneur, gonna do a much better job of analyzing all of the alternatives to whatever my raw materials are than any government entity might. You know what I mean? I don't understand, I guess, why they would step into that piece of it. I understand, you know, regulating the being curious about the safety of all of the individual, you know, elements, but I don't understand why they want to know what the alternatives are.
Yeah, I think the whole thing is kind of muddy right now, but one thing I've noticed, and there is definitely some backlash, but they do reference who they talk to, and I see some of the bigger companies. I saw Eternal post about it. I haven't really seen too many others. But how does that impact like what they know, you know, that they haven't known before? It's not new information that's being shared because there's no major studies. Why are they asking us is what I'm trying to get at. So yeah, that's a good question. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. And you said this was the EU, right? Sorry, I missed the first part of the.
This is actually the UK.
The UK,
yeah.
Okay.
So the UK is kind of responding to what's happening in Europe with their own form, and I know Australia has done the same too. So we have to definitely keep that type of stuff on our radar, see what they're coming up with, and but yeah, it's having that information should totally be available, readily available. But the fact that they're kind of intertwining doesn't quite make sense.
Well, now is this where like what the John Swick, is that the fellow who's been on, you know, Swick, you know, he's studying like what's inside of the inks, inside of the skins, or is he just studying the reactions, not necessarily the ingredients?
Yeah, he's studying how light affects what's inside, but determining what's inside, he said they're having difficulties with to some regard that he's able to disclose.
Well, it would be good to know what's like, going in our bodies, I guess. I don't know. I certainly don't necessarily trust the government to regulate us properly and given their track records and whatnot. But I mean, one way or another, I suppose, we got to make sure what we're putting in our bodies actually is safe just because we've been doing it forever. I mean, we have been doing it forever and it seems to be pretty safe, but I don't know.
Well,
I bet I have rainbow colored lymph nodes. I've lasered enough shit off of me too. So
yeah, and I wonder, and of course the ink manufacturers would know a lot more about this than I would, but obviously we have a ton more colors than we had 20 years ago. But I've from what I understand, talking to the handful of people who know inks that I have, there really are only still like 14 or 16 base pigments that everything is kind of being mixed off of, which doesn't sound like that many more than back in the 90s. I think I could probably get 8 or 10 base pigments, whenever I started tattooing. So I don't feel like, like I said, I really don't know. I guess that the pigment itself, the dry pigment, has to be the big question mark, right? Because as far as the other, the preservatives and surfactants and things like that, those are all the same things that people use in a trillion different products that go in and on our bodies. There's nothing unique about the carriers, right? It's just the pigment is the question, is it not?
For the most part, but there are some proprietary blends I'm sure they're eyeing up that aren't like necessarily what you would see out of a reputable company in the US, but they still exist. So, I mean, there's different types of ways you can attack it. I don't want to take up too much time on that, but to do your own research, again, that's HSE in the UK. You can look up their website. You could even just, get as far as answering some of the questions just to see what they're asking if you're curious.
Yeah.
To kind of develop your own opinion.
Right. Yeah. That's interesting. And we'll be able to, at the deadline for that proof of whatever the term was,
November 2nd.
November 2nd. And this term is what? Proof of what?
They're calling it a call for evidence.
Oh, call for evidence.
Yeah,
right. So it's basically applicable for the tattoo ink companies to submit their, no one else is really able to submit evidence. Like none of us have evidence about it, right?
Right.
Yeah, and they did note that in regards to like the backlash, pretty much the backlash of what happened in Europe, they're saying that they want to actually give us a chance to submit, anything that we have on file, any reports, anything like that.
So it's up to the ink companies to kind of,
and tattooers
go to bat for themselves.
For themselves, yeah.
Okay, so the tattooers are submitting evidence that they've been historically using these inks for 25 years or 20 years or 10 years.
Yeah, it falls on the whole
no
supply
reactions.
chain. Yeah. They're asking questions that could be applicable to like a retailer or a wholesaler, importer, artist, manufacturer, supplier. But yeah, I know that affects us all. So
yeah. I'd be curious to see what kind of information they would want from tattooers. I feel like they would really be getting in over their heads because, as tattooers, we really don't know what we're what we're looking at most of the time. A lot of times issues that arise in the skin were from, our own practices, maybe our lack of technical ability or, who knows, any number of things.
I'm hoping maybe reactions.
Let's catch up with the next thing. Cause obviously there's only so much that we know. We pointed people in the right direction. So
do we have time or do you guys want to jump in on yours, Gabe?
Well, we've got 11 minutes left. So
you go for it. I really have nothing definite that I need to talk about. I was running behind today, so I'd love to hear what you guys have to say first. If there's time for me, great. If not, fine.
Gabe, since we have the tattoos, I think we might need to jump in right to it.
Oh, do we want to do I'll run the tattoos of the TattooNows of the day, and we could check out some awesome tattoos before Guy hops on, and then maybe we might have time for a clip, but I am pretty psyched for this shit here. Okay.
I said that we were going to give away a goodie bag too. So if you guys happen to drop a comment about why you're watching tonight, we will be sending one of those out to you tomorrow.
Awesome. Okay. Now I have these all fired up into a PowerPoint presentation now. And so this is some of the one of the Koreans who's been updating TattooNow, a Maleficent Tattoo. Hayin Kwa Kim from 369 Ink Studio.
Yeah.
Can you guys all see this?
Yeah, we can. That's nice. It's nice that snake looks wet.
Sure does, huh? It's you know, obviously it is also very white skin.
Mhm.
That's the next tattoo I have fired up here is can you take a guess?
I'm gonna guess
Jake?
Nick Baxter.
Yeah, Mr. Baxter. I did a recent interview with him and Sean Barber where we'll be heading up with you to the Inspiring Tours where Nick and Sean will be doing like basically an outdoor plein air and then some still life, some portrait paintings.
Yeah,
and
awesome. Look at those leaves. I love the transition that Nick has made back to more of a for lack of a better term, more of a kind of traditional tattoo style, but still keeping his still keeping a lot of his painterly kind of effects in there, but he's using bold outlines and it's gone back to a more traditional approach. I talked last time I had him on my show. I talked to him a little bit about that and talked about his reasoning, and I really love it. I think it's super unique. The thing is, I haven't seen any of this stuff, this kind of stuff that he's doing a lot now in person, but I guarantee you it's 1,000 times better than the video, and the video is great.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He's one of those guys that every time you see his work in person, you go like, man, no photo ever shows how good you are.
Absolutely. 100%. And that's where it's like all the people that are photoshopping it or whatever, it's like, real tattooers, it doesn't make a difference how much you Photoshop it. The tattoo looks always like, again, like something like this.
Yeah.
Just seeing this large and in life has got to be fucking killer. I mean, this is killer. So this is Robert Hernandez, needless to say.
Beautiful.
And he'll be beaming in. Tony Ramel is going to be interviewing him at the BYOB main stage. Robert will be beaming in, presumably from Spain, but who knows? He's traveling around a lot. He was just at a convention this weekend.
All right. Yeah. To your point, you were talking about photoshopping tattoos. A lot of people would take a tattoo like this, drop the background to solid black, soften all the edges, and then really pump the contrast so it didn't even look like a tattoo or a body, and it would, it wouldn't be the same. This shows what the tattoo really looks like, and it's beautiful.
I'm pretty psyched. I got a video is working in TattooNow finally. It was like 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, I can't help it, I gotta program it. And fucking 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, I got it working. But this is Joby Cummings, I believe, from Cat Tattoo.
I've heard of Cat Tattoo.
Yeah, they're in Aitchison, Texas. A lot of great tattooers come through there and are there now. I'll be heading down there in, I think, October for some consulting work. If anybody's in the Addison, Dallas, Texas area, I think we're actually having a reinventing party at a Cat Tattoo.
Nice. Oh, that's nice.
This is Mully from Independent Tattoo in Fort Myers, Florida.
Yeah.
Nice little hand action.
Yeah.
And,
I like the
obviously, the knuckle tattoos are in there too, right? Those aren't just standard letters.
No,
I don't know who did them, but everyone. But this is a cool hand too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's nice. Left it nice and open, simple.
Oh,
look at that.
Christian Perez down at Hope Gallery.
Nice. And Christian Perez is teaching at Paradise BYOB.
Yeah, he's doing a oil painting, skull oil painting. Nice. I just got his. What do you call them? The list of supplies, the supply list for the oil painting. And he'll also be doing it virtually. He's got some people registering. So if you want to check it out live, definitely register in advance.
But he will be there in person? Is that right?
He will be there in person.
Awesome.
We'll be recording him at Jiminy Peak and beaming him out.
Awesome. Awesome.
And Nick Mitchell, he's also going to be in person at the BYOB teaching. Look at this. The tattoos are so awesome to promote for this.
Yeah. This is Andy and I had a good discussion last night just about, a lot about color and value and things like that. And something like this is such a good example of how, whoa, that looks like a mess. What is that?
Oh, that was my desktop, huh?
Oh my God.
You got a peek into my brain. Oh. Sorry about that.
We were just talking last night about, about desaturating tones to pull other things forward. And this is such a nice example of that, the kind of like soft tones in the belly and in the face, and then the way that all the contrast comes into the little foreground. What is that in the foreground? I don't even know what it is, but the little foreground.
He's ripping, he's eating something. It's a
carcass.
carcass.
Whatever he's tearing apart there. How it all the focus just goes straight to that because it's the strongest areas of contrast, and it's the the boldest color, the darkest blacks, the sharpest edges, all that stuff happens right there. But that doesn't work the same if you tried to like, even something as simple as like leaving the eyes without any detail, like having that kind of soft glazed eye. If you finish those eyes and like made them like, where they had like an iris and a pupil and a strong highlight, it would compete with the kind of guts and stuff down below. So really well thought out. This is a cool piece.
Absolutely. And fucking guy.
Yeah,
look at this.
Nice.
I've also figured out how to. I've been working on all the updatings.
Yeah.
But guy will be
Really
beaming
nice.
in. Obviously everybody that we're bringing the best talent from around the world that we can to the BYOB. So we're going to keep talking about it. But Guy will be beaming in for the onto the stage on Monday of the BYOB, October 4th, right after the Vapors of Morphine.
And the cool thing about it is, even though some folks are beaming in and some of us will be there in person, because of COVID, so many of the viewers will be beaming in. So it won't really matter, who's actually there and who's not, unless you have a physical ticket, in which case you probably want to see everyone you can. But those are so limited that
obviously in person's best. There's less than 100 people per room, and Jiminy Peak is generally pretty small to begin with. But there are still tickets, so people should definitely, if they're into coming. It's very outdoorsy, and there's lots of lots of space. We'll be going in between.
Really cool.
Yeah, it was fucking out of control. So this is, let's see, Justin Hammondtree from Painted Temple out in Salt Lake City, Utah. That's Oak Adams' shop. And
nice.
It's interesting. They upload pretty frequently. And I think he was out in the Keystone. I met all them at the Keystone. But that's Painted Tree. And then I got one more. This is another one from Korea. Unibee, EUNBEE, and they're in Seoul, 42 West.
Oh wow, that's really, really cool. I love those painterly flowers. Crazy. Yeah, that's there's a lot happening there. That's really, really nice.
We're going to be putting together a virtual Korean design conference. We'll figure out the language barriers, but this is stuff that's pretty stellar.
That is nice. What's that? I don't have anything to write with. I'll get the information from you after. EUNBEE. And you know what? I'm hoping that I catch ahead of this. I was like hammering these slideshows out at the very last minute. I could, get their names in there and their shop stuff. So if people keep updating TattooNow, then I'll be able to work on it ahead of time. Yeah, Nice. Well, so we have
we do have Guy's not on yet, so maybe we should run a video, Lauren, and then we could bring him in. Your mic is off, Lauren.
We can welcome Guy in right now. He just entered.
Oh, perfect.
All right.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hey, Guy, how goes it?
Goes great.
Awesome. Has anybody caught?
Hey, how you doing?
Good to see you.
Sorry, what were you saying, Gabe?
Well, I guess I was wondering if the Inglorious Hoko has the links.
Well, I was leaving up to you guys to get that out to him. He knows this is happening, right?
Oh, he knows it's happening, but I don't have his contact info. So I think what we're going to do, Lauren, do you want to run that clip so that we could fire him up in the background?
Okay, I'll do that. I'll look for him.
Sure. Which clip, the Jason one?
No. Why don't we fire the Dana Helmuth one? Because this is a clip from about like 10 or 12 years ago. This is a TattooNow TV clip, and this is Dana Helmuth doing a back piece from start to finish. He's a American traditional Asian traditional tattooer out of Delaware or Maryland, Delaware. Dana Helmuth. You'll want to search for him. And
I know that name.
You have the video, Gabe?
Oh, you know what? I don't. I uploaded it to the. I mean, I do have it. I uploaded it to the folder. I have it somewhere here. I have it in my downloads folder.
Cool.
I got it.
Okay, I was just gonna pull it right up for you. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Share screen, share sound, optimize for video clip. Here we go, Dana Helmuth from like a million years ago. Okay, so that is Dana Helmuth, and you should definitely be checking him out on the Instagrams at Dana Helmuth. He's he's just a fantastic tattooer, great inspiration, and
was that sound?
I can't hear you, Jake.
I'm not muted. You can't hear me?
That was a pretty interesting sound. Let's
see
just
which
say.
side. He tattooed this side of my neck is Dana Helmuth. I can't hear anybody. Is that me or is that
That would be you.
Yeah, it must be you. I can hear.
Testing.
Everyone.
I'm able to hear everyone just fine, and the sound, whatever that was.
Yeah, whatever that sound was, crazy.
I was trying to
I don't
take
know
it all
if
in.
If that was actually a super obnoxious soundtrack, or if there was like a Zoom echo going on there, turning something that was meant to be sort of ambient and eerie into this thundering mind wrecker.
Thundering mind wrecker. Yeah, that seems more likely.
So
beautiful piece, though. That was an awesome video. Aside from the sound.
Last week was pretty interesting, I'll say, by the way.
Great. Good to see you, man. That was beautiful. Great piece. Wish it had better sound.
So, have these guys filled you in a bit on the South Pacific lockdown escape?
No, I've heard Gabe's use the term, but I don't know what it is. What is the South Pacific lockdown escape?
Okay, so I mean, right now we're going to have our third event in 20 minutes or so, which is a bunch of Australian, New Zealand artists joining us to do live figure drawing. So, we're doing quick poses from photos and, treating it kind of the way that you would with, if you got together with live figure models and actually, did poses. And it's actually been fun. It's been a lot of fun. This will be our second time doing it with that group. But the Reinventing members have been doing it for the whole past month. We did 5 sessions of it. It was great.
Nice.
So, there's that. Inglorious Hoko, Adrian, Dominic, and I did a collaborative ZBrush session where anybody who wanted to learn more about ZBrush, we tried to explain technically what we were doing. And, I asked a lot of questions. Hoko is, he doesn't consider himself, a maestro by any means, but, compared to me, I mean, I don't know if you've seen his models that he uses for his tattoos, but they're really horrifying and elegant, just very nicely done. And he knows how to do a 3D rendering in such a way that you could break it down to a tattoo stencil pretty easily, which is easier said than done. I used to do some 3D modeling stuff with this app called Bryce decades ago. And I always found that it was very tricky to take it from there onto skin in a way that made it a better tattoo than, something that was just drawn up using all the compositional rules and everything else,
Yeah. I've never used ZBrush. I'm blown away by folks that are using it and using it well. I remember you building some actual models and photographing them and things like that to make drawings from. Haven't you had like clay models as well?
Oh yeah, I still do that.
Still do that.
Sometimes I'll combine, the really hard parts, the things that have a lot of symmetry or whatever. I'll sometimes build those parts digitally, and but the things that you could build with clay and use little fake foliage from train sets and stuff like that to simulate moss and all that stuff. I mean, I can't resist doing it analog style. It's I think a lot of fun.
Sure. Yeah. So that is the South Pacific. It's a drawing group. Is that right?
Well, okay. So that's the first events that we've had so far. But what we're doing is we're inviting anybody who's in that region, and this does include South Korea and Vietnam as well. The entire area. If anyone in the the South Pacific Islands, wants to hop onto this. So what we're doing is we're encouraging artists from that area to host a group with us.
Speaking of, your artist of the night has entered our waiting room. Guy.
Oh, good timing.
All right.
Happy to hear him. All right. He's got his video off now, but welcome. Go.
All right.
Hey.
Okay, yeah, this time we've got everything working live, and so we've got Lauren here from who you met last week. We've got Jake Meeks.
Nice to meet you.
Fireside Tattoo podcast. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those, but you've done a ton of episodes now, like hundreds now, right?
Hundreds, yeah. Almost. We're coming up on 10 years of Fireside. Pretty fast.
Nice. And so this is a show that we do every Sunday night, the Tattoo Weekly, and so we're having you join us as a guest before we start our figure drawing session in 20 minutes. But welcome, Mr. Inglorious Hoko. You grew up in New Zealand?
Yeah, born and raised here in New Zealand. Kind of born in a nowhere kind of town, small country town, and lived here on and off my whole life. So, yeah.
I'm curious, when you were a teenager, or even younger, was tattoo culture already a thing that you saw a lot of, or did you have to kind of seek it out?
Well, tattoo culture was kind of, it took a little while for New Zealand to catch up. There was always people around me that had tattoos, but they were often very, very bad tattoos, like a lot of home jobs, especially on my father's side of the family. Like a lot of his friends and whatnot were kind of, he's Maori, so there was a lot of like kind of just, there was a bit of a culture where Maori people back in the day would kind of just tattoo their hands with just, a stick and poke and just do really bad tattoos all over them. So when I was growing up, I didn't really want tattoos so much. But then I got my first tattoo when I was 17 and I was just hooked from there. And from there, the kind of the tattoo scene in New Zealand started to catch up with the rest of the world. So yeah, it took a little while, but we're slowly getting
It seems like there's a higher concentration of really good artists per capita in New Zealand and Australia as well. I've found, than you would expect. You see a lot of really great art coming out of both continents.
I agree. It's mind blowing how many great tattooers are in that area.
Yeah, there are a lot of good artists over here. I think, especially in New Zealand, there's very much a DIY attitude where people just kind of they just push it. I guess like smaller countries, I think there's kind of like an element of there's not all that much in their country, so people kind of push it a little bit harder. So countries like Poland and whatnot, where there's almost like an element of desperation, so they get really, really good at tattooing or art. I think New Zealand is a little bit like that as well.
So watching some of your process, sorry, guy. Watching some of your process right there in ZBrush, it's awesome. Looks so good. Go ahead.
No, thanks, man. Yeah, I really enjoy doing that sort of thing.
Before you actually came on, I was commenting to Jake how you seem to have figured out the ways to render these things in such a way that it can be stencil ready and and tattooable in such a way that it looks so strong and high contrast on skin.
Yeah, well, I generally, basically, I kind of have like an approach to rendering these images with the lighting, especially of where I'm kind of, I'm thinking constantly of like old school horror movie, black and white sort of imagery, like say Frankenstein, just very strong overhead light sources that just cast deep shadows and glowing eyes and stuff like that. And it just really works perfectly for tattooing. But I mean, it works especially well for what I do because I like to do, macabre, dark, black and gray. So it works very, very well for that. But yeah, I find that when rendering these sculptures, it's almost like the simpler the better. I just do like a simple gray kind of clay shader and just simple lighting, 3-point lighting. And yeah, it works amazing for tattooing.
Some of the color effects that you're getting are really, I didn't realize, I don't know anything about ZBrush, but I was just, Gabe, you were just flipping through a couple that had this kind of like warm light coming from through the figure's head and then a cool light on the other side. And those lighting effects are so fantastic and so believable. It'd be really difficult to invent those without that, or as accurately, I guess, without that.
Yeah.
You're not doing any color though, right?
Very, very rarely do I do color. Like, yeah.
This was a model that I was looking at. Yeah. It looked like it was a model, Gabe, that you were doing past, or was that someone else? Was I looking at someone else's work? Or was that
was part of Hoko's gallery? Yeah, I saw that too. And so I guess if you were to take something like that and tattoo it, and it's that one that looks a little bit like a xenomorph head that has like a warm underlight. And if you were going to tattoo it in such a way that you're able to get,
sorry.
Yeah, it's
it was in that last one you were just in. You had to scroll through
the one with that
images.
statue. One with the statue and just page through those. Pretty sure there's. Is that the only
just
one?
a single?
Yeah, one of them had multiple images you could scroll through. That's where it was.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. But anyway, I think that when rendering something like that without the advantage of color to help separate the planes, you just have to be really careful to like limit certain values in each of those areas, like not go any lighter than a certain value, and then some highlights in the secondary color, right? I mean, I'm sure you've got this all thought out.
Yeah, well, the reason I'll generally put like a warm kind of secondary light is because I don't want the shadows to just be completely flat one tone. You know, like I really want to say underneath the jaw, I want to be able to capture the darkest point of that shadow and then have a dark shadow tone, which is almost like a mid shadow tone underneath it to give it a rounded edge and really help bring that up off the skin. So that's a reason why I would do maybe like a warm underglow or something like that. And that can be any color that you want it to be. I just tend to gravitate towards warmer colors when it comes to that kind of light.
That's kind of a traditional painting mindset, kind of details in the shadows. Are you a traditional painter as well? Are you an oil painter or anything like that? Or mostly different?
I like to pretend I'm an oil painter.
Me too.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I love oil painting, but I'm also very respectful and scared of the medium to an extent. For example, there's a painting in the background there that I started in a lockdown last year and I haven't touched since, just because I'm kind of scared to continue it, you know. So, but I do often study like kind of the old masters and in regards to that kind of warm light in the shadows, and you know, they tend to, especially in facial tones, the old masters would, you know, go on for like a burnt sienna or whatever, and do like a warm shadow tones and then kind of cold highlights, and yeah, so I kind of I'm very influenced by classical art, so it's
yeah. Speaking of painting and of your area, one of my favorite not only oil painters but painting instructors is from New Zealand. Andrew Tischler. Do you follow Andrew Tischler at all? Has a fantastic YouTube channel, but he's in New Zealand and he's always painting the New Zealand landscape, and I'm just blown away that it's a real place. Every time he sets up and does something plein air, I go like, wow, that's a real place that you're standing in. It looks amazing.
I wonder what part of New Zealand he's in, because there's definitely some very, very beautiful landscapes around New Zealand, especially in the South Island. Incredible.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where he is. His YouTube channel is fantastic. He's a great instructor and a really great painter. Yeah.
Okay. Andrew Tischler.
Tischler. I was trying to spell it in my head. Tischler, I think. Tischler.
Yeah. I'm going to look him up after this interview.
And I'm going to hop off, you guys, and get the other night started on the other Zoom, and I will see you guys in a few minutes for the live figure drawing. Thank you everybody for joining.
See you in a minute.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Lauren. There you go, Andrew Tischler.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they're huge and they're beautiful. I like his portraits. I really love his landscapes. His landscapes are just on another level to me, especially watching them, you know, come to life in real. Yeah, his YouTube channel, it shows the process of all of these, and he's really good.
Yeah, there's a little bit of the Hudson River School there, you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's because actually I had no idea that there was anyone in New Zealand kind of painting to this kind of level. You know? Every day you discover a new artist, but I've been looking for that kind of sort of like art instruction for a while, and very rarely do you come across something like that. You know, it's incredible.
Yeah. You should definitely give him a follow on YouTube. He's worth. I've learned a lot from him, and he has a great kind of presence. He's entertaining to watch as well, which is important. You know, when you're learning from people. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it can be incredibly bland art instructional videos. Yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of people, you know, they see what you're doing, they see the modeling that you're doing in ZBrush, and they probably are just thinking, you know, rightly so, that it looks like it's on a completely different level, like, you know, inaccessible, just way beyond anybody's abilities, you know, and like a superpower. And I know that ZBrush is intimidating. It almost feels like you're trying to learn to play guitar or something. At least that's what it looks like from the far side. But, you know, I mean, without that much instruction, you can get to a point where you can make a cool shape and light it up and render it well enough that you have a tattooable model. I mean, you could probably learn enough to do that in a day, right?
That's exactly it. It's actually, I've always considered the learning curve of ZBrush to be quite steep, but now that I've kind of been more and more people seem to be taking notice of it, and especially in the tattoo world. And I've been, kind of showing a lot of people the ropes, and the stuff that I've seen people kind of create on their first day of using the program. I was blown away. For example, my workmate Nathan Matheson, he's not a very computer-minded guy, I would say generally, but just over this lockdown, after we did our first ZBrush sculpt, he downloaded ZBrush and made this awesome crab creature within like a day, and it was really good. So it's definitely something that I think a lot of people can pick up, but there is that kind of technical aspect of it where you're playing with numbers and sliders a lot to try and get some of the effects that we need that will definitely scare some people off. But once you get past that hurdle, it's very, very intuitive.
Yeah, I think that's the whole trick, is getting to the intuitive point. And I'm still getting there.
Guy, how long have you been working in ZBrush?
Well, okay, so I did a back piece from a fairly simple ZBrush model years and years ago, 7 or 8 years ago. And I've done a few small things here and there, but recently I've gotten to a point where I actually can't move much farther forward in my artistic plans until I can get a more working, knowledge of it. And so, last year, before the shit hit the fan, Hoko was visiting the States, and he was going to come through Southern Illinois. We were going to build the ZBrush model and tattoo it on somebody's back. We had a client, everything. Dude has bells on. He was so excited. And then, shit happened. So now that they're experiencing shutdowns again, we've kind of hopped back on it. He and Adrian Dominic and I had a session together a couple weeks back where we just passed some models around. We were able to email each other the shapes. And I asked a lot of questions and learned a lot of stuff. And hopefully a lot of people who are watching pick things up too. Anybody who didn't get a chance to sit in on that, you can find it in the Reinventing the Tattoo video archive. It's filled with a lot of stuff that if you're just barely, past that first day and you're trying to figure out all your tools, there's a lot of discussion of the basic tools and how to do the various different things with, pull and stretch and that kind of thing with your shapes.
I don't mean to hop in, but we probably have 2 or 3 more minutes before everyone should let everyone know where to find you and then sign off. But Guy, to that point, Christian Perez I was just looking at his page. He's got some ZBrush. We might, there's a lot of the bio people that are on the app that are really, really chomping at the bit for another bio collaboration. Maybe we should set aside some time 2 or 3 weeks out and be if you're into ZBrush, we're going to do a ZBrush collaboration where we could, maybe we have featured people to pass it around, but get some of those other bio people in.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, maybe in the next week or two. That sounds like a blast. So, Jake, any final questions you want to ask Hoko before we have to sign off?
No, but I know you guys have something else to get to, so it was great meeting you. I love your work. I'm going to give you a follow as soon as we get off of here, and I'll be sure to I'll give you a follow. You give Andrew Tischler a follow, and then we both
sounds good.
Something today.
Awesome. Thanks very much.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Good to see you, Guy.
Cheers.
All right. Well, you ready to draw the figure?
I'm ready to draw the figure, man.
Outstanding. All right. Well, I've already got my canvases and everything. See you there. Do you have the other link?
Sounds good.
Awesome. We'll catch up in the future, everybody. Thank you. So anybody that is tuning in live, you should be heading over to the Reinventing app or the Reinventing YouTube channel, because we're going to restart the stream in the South Pacific Lockdown figure drawing session number 2 or 3. Is it number 2 or 3, Hoko?
I think it's the second one. Yeah.
Second one. Number 2.
One ZBrush sculpting, and then so this will be the second one. Yep.
Number 3. Awesome.
Yeah.
We'll catch up in Hoko. You have the other Zoom link?
I have not yet. No.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to hang up now, and I will make sure that you get it within 120 seconds, within 2 minutes.